evangelical Christianity is inherently anti-science, and that's why demographically, I'm written Oklahoma City. Marjorie Taylor Greene is from Georgia. Common denominator, Bible Belt. Common denominator, bottom 10 states. Common denominator, least educated, least economic producing states. In the Bible Belt, they want to...
Jennifer, the ranking of Georgia in terms of business and education, has your plastic surgery, or your rather bad plastic surgery, fucked up your brain cells as well? Because here's this. Okay, if you Google the state of Georgia ranking in education and business, you'll find that Georgia ranks number 1 in the U.S. in connecting the K-12 education system with early learning, higher education, and the world of work, according to Education Week. Is Georgia a good state for business? Site Selection Magazine ranked Georgia number 1 for business 8 consecutive years. That's based on an analysis of announced projects, the state's tax climate, and a thorough survey of site selection professionals. Just Google the shit, okay? For you, Jennifer, to say that Georgia's among the lowest ranking in terms of education and its economy and business, what are you on? I mean, isn't your bad plastic? So for iHip fans, please don't get me wrong, I find them very hilarious. I think Beeves, I don't know her first name right now off the top of my head. I've only discovered them in the last few months, which is kind of sad, but they're hilarious. They're very entertaining women. But the thing about Jennifer, who talks the most, you always have that in terms of a duo podcast. It's usually the person on the left side, it's funny how that is, that talks a lot. It doesn't really bother me, but this woman spews the same bullshit and hatred over the right. I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, but constantly spewing hatred and calling people, overusing the term riffraff. I mean, I've used riffraff a lot to talk about when talking about members of Congress. The riffraff in Congress thinks a lot of us as Americans are disposable riffraff. So I think the term riffraff and flea bag and garbage, trash, whatever, it's being overused when talking about Republicans. This is a congressional body issue. It's the entire congressional body that is committing insider trading, which is legal. I personally don't care, but the thing is, we need to understand when these people, left or right or independent, what have you, when they come into Congress, after their freshman year, it seems like they become desensitized to their objectives. They are already reserved in assuming that there's nothing that they can do in terms of, when it comes to Democrats in the House or the Senate, there's nothing they can do in terms of legislation for wages, housing, on-the-job training that it doesn't seem like that a lot of people aren't really talking about. Germany has a very sizable OJT culture, and I think that would be something very qualitative for our country. These people, these podcasts like iHip, I've Had It podcast, they don't talk about things like this. They're always spewing hatred towards the right. This is their money-making This is their money-making tactic. You know, this is how they make money and entertain the masses, or the fans that watch their podcast. I've watched a lot of their podcasts in the last couple of months, but it's the same bullshit over and over again. I mean, it's the same spewing over Republicans over and over again. And don't you dare, I'm from Georgia, I live in New York City, and I love New York City, but I'm very proud to be a Georgia Southern. Georgia is a purple state for good reason. It has a high quality education system. There's a lot of business in Augusta, the second biggest city next to Atlanta. It also has a lot of media and all kinds of tech, all kinds of different industries. I mean, not just retail, but this is a flourishing state. Think about why it's purple much of the time. Okay. In every state, there's going to be poverty. In every state of this country, there's child truancy, there's educational problems in certain counties. That's all across the board. New York State has this problem. So don't you fucking dare put down Georgia just because it's in the Bible Belt. And I'm not against religion or I'm not a Christian or anything, but I have nothing against religion. I think there are good quality people who are conservative, who consider themselves more liberal or libertarian, who do go to church. I have nothing against religion. When you put down religion like that and you lump them all as the same thing, you're showing your ass, Jennifer. I swear. I think the surgeon that fucked up your eyeballs and made them 10 times smaller than what you were born with, I think it did something to your brain cells. You should be ashamed of yourself to be like this. This is not helpful to any of us, in my opinion.
So Jennifer Welch came up. I think I said that's Stephen Miller's wife, Katie Miller, but also she was on Doge. She's an independent professional in her own right and a podcast host. That Jennifer Welch, who I'm just now getting to see in these podcast clips, who's possibly the most hateful person in the national dialogue today. It's like tough to say, but even Joy Reid is more joyful than this woman. She's truly deeply, deeply hateful of everybody on Team Red. Here's just sampling of this person who Abby Phillip is totally fine with, has on her show repeatedly, went on this woman's show herself. Abby Phillip did. Not hateful. See, Stephen Miller, hateful. Jennifer Welch, not hateful. That's Abby Phillip's world. Here, watch.
Shockingly, the conservatives that I thought were just crusty old white people have morphed into this young group of misogynists. And I can tell you, when I'm around white people, they test the racist water. They test it on people like you all. Stephen Miller is a Nazi and he is a sociopath. He is a little insecure white supremacist. This guy was bullied in high school, and he's unattractive and he's 4'10" and nobody fucking likes him. You get to JD Vance, who is a failed drag queen, because little Moses Mike Grinder Johnson worships two things: Donald Trump and his closeted life. For this dementia-ridden, diaper-wearing sack of shit, he started off his 60 Minutes interview by saying, "I am not a Nazi." Okay? He clearly is a Nazi. People that triple Trump should be banned, boycotted from enjoying the best thing that America has to offer, which is multiculturalism. Get your fat asses out of the Mexican restaurant. Get your fat asses over to Cracker Barrel, because nobody wants to see your fucking smug ass, teeny weeny, pink arm, big gut around. Nobody wants to see that shit. No one.
You got it? Not hateful. It's fine. Abby Phillip that's just a liberal with an opinion. That's how she described her. Stephen Miller, with his immigration crackdown, supported by the vast majority of Americans, hateful. Clearly, Abby Phillip has no problem with him being called a white supremacist or a Nazi, because she was actually on Jennifer Welch's show when Jennifer said that directly to Abby Phillip. Fine.
Jennifer Welch is a disgusting human being, and Abby Phillips is just a straight up fool. I don't even know how she has her own show. They really, oh my God. I swear to God, liberals are just destroying America with some dumb, idiotic people. I swear. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share this channel. All right, let's begin. I want you to take a look at this lady. Has to be one of the ugliest woman I've ever seen. Okay? But she's playing you guys, okay? This ugly woman is playing you guys because she is letting you feel like she's outraged at President Trump. Now mind you, this lady has money. Okay. And she's not willing. I haven't heard her mention about giving up half her money to help the less fortunate. You don't hear that. You just hear her talking a bunch of junk. And what she is selling is outrage. Okay. Because, it's another way of clickbait. What I'm trying to say. She has a podcast and it's become popular because outrage sells. So, if I come on and I start rage, screaming and hollering at everything, and Nancy Pelosi's a B, and all this, and I'm saying all this stuff, and it attracts people because people want to hear that. They like liberals like to hear other liberals and these uneducated people scream about Trump and everything like that. It fits their narrative. And so you have somebody like Jennifer Welch, who is rich, okay, filthy rich, is not sharing her money, not giving it up, but sitting here talking about all this white supremacy and neo Nazis and calling Stephen Miller a Nazi Jew. I mean, she say these stupid things. Yet she talks about Trump and she talks about all this other stuff, talking about men's genitals. And I mean, this lady is the pits. Just horrible. You know, she claims to be fighting division and so forth. But if you actually look at it, she thrives on creating it. It's just plain and simple. Abby Phillips had, I think Stephen Miller's wife's name is Katie Miller. And Katie Miller just put Abby Phillips on blast because Abby Phillips went on Jennifer Welch dumbass podcast, and she started saying all this stuff, and Abby Phillips sat there like Bozo the Clown. He didn't say nothing, okay? Not one thing. Didn't sit back didn't push back when Jennifer Welch was calling Stephen Miller a Nazi Jew and all this other stuff. Yet can go and say to Stephen Miller's wife, Katie Miller, how shouldn't JD Vance, push back against somebody like Nick Fuentes because I guess Tucker Carlson had Nick Fuentes on. So Katie Welch said Tucker Carlson can have whoever he wants on the show and they can say whatever they want. I agree because it's up to the people that could reject, but they could do whatever they want. This is why we're America. It's a free country. You can do whatever you want. But Abby Phillips, because she's such a blockhead, I don't even know why she still have a show. Does that show even get good ratings? I think people just look at YouTube for her show. I don't think they actually go on there. Scott Jennings is the only sensible one on that show. The rest are race hustlers, dividers. They're just a bunch of bozos. But Abby Phillips got put in her place because she did not push back when she heard these comments, but want to tell others to push back. But felt it was fine when liberals say it. This is why I say they're a bunch of hypocrites. Malcolm X was so right. But this buffoon, Jennifer Welch, one of the ugliest women I've ever seen, has used her platform and is creating this brand. I call it the mirror effect. Okay, because what she did was she saw how Trump got a huge following because Trump goes on the attack. He says what he says, he does what he wants, and I guess that's fine for a lot of people. Okay? She's doing the same thing, but she's a hypocrite with hers. But she's doing the same thing. And it's not because she's such an outraged individual. Oh my goodness, I just want, white supremacy and all this other junk. She's using it to her advantage with this fake outrage and cursing and screaming and calling people names. She's and this is the mirror effect, okay? She's a hypocrite. And I hope people start to realize what a fake she really is.
So Abby Phillips from CNN just had a complete meltdown over something that was said by Stephen Miller's wife, Katie Miller, which was on the recent Abby Phillips CNN panel. You gotta watch this one.
Katie is the person who just said to me that it is comparable to say that Nick Fuentes, who is literally a neo-Nazi, is the same as somebody, a liberal, who has an opinion, who is not a neo-Nazi. They are not
a hateful opinion.
the same.
How do you want, excuse me, just let's go back to this point one more time.
But
Nick
Katie,
Fuentes can espouse an opinion on Tucker Carlson's show.
It is not the same
he didn't push
thing.
back the same way you didn't push back when someone called someone in my family a Nazi. It's not different.
Hold on a second. If someone comes on this show and says, I love Hitler and I admire what he did, they would never, first of all, I would never invite them on the show and they would never be invited back. So those two things are not the same thing.
But yet you've gone on Jennifer Welch's podcast. It's the same thing.
They are not the same thing.
You know, I mean, like Stephen Miller is a white supremacist. I mean, he is, and he's basically running the White House. Anti-Semites, true white supremacists like Stephen Miller. And even though he's Jewish, he's like a Nazi Jew.
Well, look, I can't speak to what Stephen Miller's motivations are.
So I love that video. I mean, Katie Miller really let Abby Phillips know. I think she brought Abby Phillips down here because she just blasted her, because what she said was 100% correct. Tucker Carlson had Nick Fuentes on. Tucker Carlson has that right. He can do that, you know, and Nick Fuentes could say whatever he wants. Just like Abby Phillips went on to Jennifer Welch show, and Jennifer Welch could say whatever she wants. It's her show. She could do whatever and say whatever she wants. But Abby Phillips had the audacity to then come and say to Katie Miller, who's the wife of Stephen Miller, who's a part of the Trump administration. She had the audacity to say that, you know, shouldn't J.D. Vance push back against people that use certain off-color language or whatever. And Katie Miller had to set her straight because she didn't push back, you know. So yeah, these are clowns, okay. And Abby Phillips is one, but this Jennifer Welch, oh my God, she's horrible, like a Skeletor looking horrible. But I wanted to come back to the mirror effect, or what I was talking about. So let me see if I could really define the mirror effect, so that you understand. So the mirror effect is when you accuse your opponents of being divisive, but your own strategy reflects the same division back at them. Okay, so let me see. You can use labels like Nazis, threats towards Democrats, constant framing of opponents as supremacists, you know. And I always want to ask this question: if you fight division with division, are you really fighting, or are you feeding the beast? And I think that Jennifer Welch, that's exactly what she's doing, and this is why I said she is playing everybody, because she is using outrage as her clickbait, because she is making money off of this. She is filthy rich. She's making more money. She found a way how to. Liberals know how to sucker people into getting money. Black people give their money to the Democratic Party. The Democrats do nothing for them, but blacks continue giving their money away. And okay, they want to do that. Be my guest. Jennifer Welch is doing the same thing that the black race hustlers do. She found a weakness, and she is exploiting it by repeating the same thing that these black race hustlers do. You know, I grew up in a red state, and the white people there, they be, lady, I don't know what you're talking about. It was probably you. Okay. But, you know, she got to throw that out there and say all these things. I don't see her hanging with any black people, but I see her yapping her mouth. But that's what this whole game is about. Okay. It's about dumbing down your viewers by throwing out this fake outrage so you can click on her show, watch her show, and she gets paid. And she gets paid, okay? So, and you have to ask yourself, how come polarization works, And like I stated before, outrage is addictive. People see it, they like the off-color language being used, and they jump right on board, And also, polarization creates loyalty. So, MAGA, which, I support, MAGA love Trump when he's being very bombastic, just going right after them. Fake media, all that. When he goes after them, MAGA likes that. They love that aggressive approach. Liberals love when Jennifer Welch, no matter if she's in front of a congressman, whoever it is, just goes on the attack. And it creates loyalty. And I would say that it makes people feel like they're a part of that fight when they're standing with Jennifer Welch or Donald Trump, and they're, giving it to you. The only difference is President Trump is our commander-in-chief, and Jennifer Welch is just a skeletal looking thing that needs to just find a little hole and crawl right in it because she looks horrible. Okay. I would say that Jennifer Welch is winning with her fake outrage because the media rewards controversy with clicks, shares, and visibility. So YouTube and all these other streaming social networks, they pay you. And the more clickbait you use, I was just listening to a this webinar where the guy said certain things. I guess there's a 5 steps into building your base, and one of them is make your audience believe that something is going to happen. You ever go on and you try to click on something because it says wait till the last, watch the last 30 seconds, and then the last 30 seconds is nothing, but their clicks have already went to off the chart? It's because you're being scammed. And that's what Jennifer Welch is doing. She's scamming you guys. She says all these things, she could be very polarizing, using the mirror effect to lure in her base. And excuse me, I'm tired, but that's I guess that's the cost of living in the mirror. So like I said, it is troubling, but that's how liberals operate.
I'm a white woman that has lived in a red state my entire life. And I can tell you, when I'm around white people, they test the racist water. They test it on people like you all the time. And they'll try to say off-color things. I put my hand up. It absolutely happens. And you're fortunate that maybe you haven't experienced this.
Can I just say, literally this August, a white person said the N-word in front of me.
And the vice president.
So you heard it out of her own mouth. She's a damn disgrace, I swear. I don't even know what to say, but yeah, that's Jennifer Welch, a rock socking mess, a liberal at her worst. Okay, but she proves that polarization attracts. She do. She got a huge following. They cling onto every word she says. And every word she says is hateful, mean, but they love it. And she knows how to draw them in. She used outrage as her clickbait, okay? But if all you do is mirror division, unity never enters the room. And that's the danger of living in the mirror. You never escape the reflection. This is the Marc Perspective Show. I'm so glad that you were able to join me today. Stay sharp, stay honest, and don't get lost in the mirror. Remember to like, subscribe, share this channel. Please leave a comment below. I love talking to people. I'm still working to get that live streaming going so that way I can engage a bit more. But be on the lookout for another video. You guys have a great day. Peace.